Casting couch, take one.
Oh no, I'm stuck in the washer.
Cheers, bouncy.
Yeah, it is. It is very squeege. Squeegee's not a word. Is it squeegee a sound? Can you be like, oh, that sounds squeegee? Or
Got lots of squeegees.
Beers, burgers, and bros.
I don't know what the Saints would do without
All right. So here we are, Beers, Burgers, and Bros, episode 3. We're gonna talk about some controversial. There we go.
Yeah, it's alright, I'm here. That's what, hey, I got you, bro. And burgers and beer. So
Appreciate
the
it.
bro part comes in.
I appreciate it. We're gonna talk about some cultural
Yeah.
subjects and topics today.
Things that I think are, I don't know, uncomfortable to talk about, or not necessarily uncomfortable, but willing to
We're gonna push
cross that threshold and see.
We're gonna push the envelope. Hey, you know, if you guys are just tuning in, I need you guys to go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Just go ahead and hit those fancy little links below.
Are we doing that? Is that us now? Like, hit the link at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've always wanted to do that.
You gotta.
How did I get inside this monitor? It's so weird. It's cramped in here.
So first we're gonna start with what beers we're drinking today. Today I am having the Brew Bus.
You're my boy Blue.
You're my boy Blue. That's mine.
Which is a blueberry?
It is a blueberry. I like
blueberry wheat ale.
Yeah, so mine's got to be, you know, I try to get mine, you know, a little Swedish.
Yeah, just a little taste, a little something sweet on his tongue.
What you got over here?
Prison Pals Golden Cage. It is a West Coast IPA, and it is 8% alcohol. Never had it. Looked like a beer can that I would like, so I got it. So we'll see.
Okay.
Or West Coast DIPA. DIPA.
They just put a D in front of the IPA.
Yeah, it always starts with the D.
It starts with the D and ends with the D.
It starts with a D, ends with the A. So, wrong end of that conversation.
Right. And today's food is being brought to you in part by Burger
MI.
I don't know if they want to call themselves Burger Me, but Burger MI.
Burger My. I don't know.
What's your burger? Because your burger looks stacked.
I just got Angus beef,
Okay.
roasted jalapenos, bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, pickles, onions, everything that deserves to be between
Burger connoisseur.
between, you know, the buns.
Between the buns.
Yours has been leaking since you got it.
I have the salmon burger with the cabbage. It's some red cabbage in the middle of
It's
it.
a Krabby Patty.
Yes.
That's what you got. A Krabby Patty.
Krabby pizza. It's nice, dripping even heavy. Well, here's the first bites.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, and we had discussed it, and it's actually on the screen right now, was it's a new movie on Netflix called You People. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. Jonah Hill, Eddie Murphy, pretty much a large star cast with the movie. But it hits on a couple of different things that I want to talk about, and it's Jonah Hill plays a Jewish guy, white Jewish guy, and he's wanting to get engaged to Eddie Murphy's daughter, who obviously she's black, and they're Muslim. Mm-hmm. So I say obviously, but so then there's the whole experience of a stereotypical Jewish family, white Jewish family, with what I feel is a very stereotypical Muslim type black family, and the cultural clashes that they have during the filming of it.
How do you feel about interracial, different races dating or wanting to get married?
I mean, me personally, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I
So you believe people should be able to choose?
yeah, absolutely. Love's love.
Okay.
I mean, that's anything. I mean, that goes for people that are gay as well. I mean, because I don't live that life doesn't mean that I'm against it. Doesn't mean, like I said, love's love. For whatever reason they feel, how they feel, or identify as, they could identify as a dinner spoon and want to marry a table. Yeah, you know, I don't care. That's not
So
my
you fall
place.
into you fall into the factor of just, you know, people can choose who they want to choose,
Yeah, absolutely.
and we're not the judge of no one, no person, nobody, no animal, no nothing, no anything on the planet, because that's done through a higher level of power, in my standpoint, from it. But I believe people should choose whoever they want to be with, and as long as they're happy, everybody else should leave them alone. I was told by a grandparent of mine that when you get married, everybody else got to get out your business. That's your family, and and nobody else should be dictating you and the person you decide to be with.
Absolutely.
And in this movie, we saw a lot of family influencing their love for each other. I mean, this was a deep movie, and you had the family trying so hard to be what they believe the other family wanted.
Well, it was also too the stereotyping, and this kind of goes back into something else that I was wanting to talk about as well. You got a Jewish family that's doing, everything they can to, have a conversation, but it's so racially charged, the conversation, unintentionally, because it's like, there was a scene where she's talking and she goes, who's really fucked up? The police. It was like, and it was like, just for what reason? For what reason to feel like that was a something to talk about, to create, or to bring down that barrier, when unfortunately I think that society, what was it? It was I think it was Morgan Freeman or Denzel Washington. It was one of the two of them. It was Morgan Freeman. The reason why there's so much racial tension still is because people keep talking about racism.
Instead of moving on from it.
We're consistently kicking a dead horse, and I only say that in the sense that I'm not saying that there's these issues that still need to be addressed, that don't need to be put off to the side. There's still a ton of things that we could talk about.
Because just like I was just about to mention when you said that, I was like, well, it'll be more than us just having to talk about it, because there are some things that are happening that is showing its face. And like, I don't know if you don't mind me talking about it, like the thing that happened in Memphis with
I don't mind. No, we were talking about this earlier while we were driving around.
With the black kid that got beat up and killed by all black officers. And here you have all black officers with the same badge as every other culture within the department, but how quickly they were processed without being placed on administrative leave until the investigation gets done.
So you think that's because they were black?
I believe it was because they were black.
You in to reiterate what you had said earlier, you felt that if it was white officers,
They would have been placed on administrative leave. The internal affairs would have got involved, and you would have been waiting at least 2 to 3 months down the line before they even decide to place anybody in jail. To have sit there for Lord knows how short amount of time before they try to make this pass, and they allow them to go free, and next thing you know, you see them. Because I mean, it's happening time and time again. You go back in time. You got the the Arthur McDuffie in Miami. 4 white officers beat and killed the black guy riding a motorcycle because he ran a stop sign. They moved all 4 white officers up north. They ran the trial. All 4 of them got off, and the whole riot happened in Miami. And we pretty much
Rodney King.
destroyed everything that's going on. Then you go back even further, Rodney King. Then you come even present with George Floyd. You know, everything took time when it came to being white police officers versus the black police officers. They went ahead, fired them immediately, sent them to jail. And I believe that there was some type of, I don't call it privilege or entitlement, but
do you feel because of the racial tension that goes on now between law enforcement and the public that these things would be expedited quicker than what they need to be, in fairness, because of the backlash from media? I'm not saying if it's white officers with say a black subject, if it was black officers and a white subject that this had happened to. I mean, I don't, you know what I mean?
also what you're saying is like it's
just now
since what happened, they might have gotten better at prosecuting police officers.
prosecuting, or like I said, just pushing it through.
Right.
Just go ahead and just getting it done.
Right.
Because I mean, and it's interesting that this even becomes a topic or even becomes a subject because of the fact that the older that I become and seeing how society was when I was younger, as far as between, and this is just my point of view from where I came from, I have law enforcement in my family, so I know law enforcement was definitely looked up to and seen differently in the public eye than what it is now. How is it? Is it blueberry?
Another can of exotic piss. I mean, I can taste the blueberry, but there's something else there that's, what did I say? It's the winner at the American Beer Festival. I wonder what beer festival they won at.
Definitely one that you weren't at.
Obviously.
Obviously, people that like.
That I wasn't there because
No. See, my golden cage is good.
they should make me a beer connoisseur. Let's just swiggle it around. Nah, I don't think they want me rating their stuff like that.
No, because if that was the case, then there wouldn't be any beers.
Yeah.
It'd just be like Mike's Hard Lemonade and Twisted Teas everywhere.
That's what it be. That's what it be. You know, I looked at that first.
Yeah, I know. You wanted to get that twisted.
I said, ooh, they got
Twisted Tea.
They got Mike's Hard Strawberry Lemonade. I had the regular lemonade last time.
See, you should have gone.
But anyway, we jumped off a little bit to get back on interrelationship relations with the whole You People movie.
What I think, see,
out.
I don't know, I see myself different in that aspect of it, because I'd have no problem
dating
outside of my race. I mean, it's never happened, but it doesn't. You know what I mean? It wasn't I wouldn't say it wasn't a lack of not trying. I mean, there's been times when, if I see someone that I vibe with, and I see someone that's beautiful, or I've done those kind of things, I'd talk and I'd do whatever. If an opportunity had presented itself, I would have, absolutely.
Yeah, it just steered back to the whole thing of like leaving people out of your business. because they loved each other. They love each other. Genuinely, they had
Oh yeah.
smart conversations with each other. They related to each other. They loved each other, and nobody should have got in between that. And now it's sad to say that society puts a stipulation on who should go with who. You know, you have certain influencers saying things like, "Oh, you know, you're black, you should stay with your black queens." And let me tell you something. It is very few black. It's very few black queens, due to the fact of how
The only queen I can think of is Latifah, right off the top of my head.
you know how they treat their own race. So you know, like,
So is it become but see, and then again, that's another thing. So it becomes a cultural thing.
it becomes a cultural thing. But see, that's people that's stuck on their culture, stuck on wanting to see. So they want to see their kids be with somebody like them, or somebody that they can relate to, so that they can feel okay with that person. And if they look anything different than what their vision is, now it becomes an issue. And then you love your family and you want to not please them, but make everything okay with them and your spouse, that you're just trying things now. You know.
No, you should never do any of that kind of stuff to please somebody else. I mean, that's just absurd. I mean, seriously, to marry or to stay within a place just to please everyone else around you so you can be miserable the rest of your life.
Yeah. It's not,
No, thank you.
it's not cool. It's not a thing.
I've watched bad reruns. I've had to watch evening news. I'm not down for that. But no, but it does leave open the discussion for. So there was both sides of this family that obviously had their opinion or their stigmas or their false ideologies of what the other people were. It was like, okay, perfect example was the argument at the dinner table.
Oh.
You know, you basically had Jewish people arguing with Muslims about who was the first slaves. And that to be, I mean, that is a very hot topic.
Or
and
who
that
had
is
it-
for
or who had it worse, the
Yeah.
Holocaust or slavery.
Yeah, that's and I'm just again, it's one of those things. It's okay. So they made the point. Well, yes, that was 300 years ago for you type of thing for slavery, or for civil rights. That was just a generation away. And in some areas, depending on where you go, some of that stuff still runs pretty thick to those country woods, So, I don't. As a society, the fact that, I mean, I make my jokes, this. I talk at sideways, all this other kinds of, but I don't look at what I joke about it because of the ignorance in it and how stupid it is. Just a stereotype.
Yes, you broaden the eyes open. You broaden the eyes just to open up. You open up the floor to being like, hey, listen, think about it this way. While you're so stuck in your whole factuated mind of how you're trying to think of things, look at things in this perspective. You open up a different perspective for people when you do things like that. Well, at least those who are open-minded.
Right. I was going to say, and you have to be open-minded because I don't, and in the grand scheme of things, I don't see color. I don't see, if somebody is wanting to be a certain way, live a certain way, love a certain way. Again, that's not me. Will I make jokes about it? Absolutely. I mean, it's funny.
You at the end of the day, man.
But I mean, I would never, and the jokes that I make aren't, I don't see them disrespectful. I would never draw that line to disrespect somebody in that sense of it. It's more of a, my shenanigans are cheeky and fun, because at the end of the day, that is somebody, No, but what I was wanting to say was the fact that, and I want to bring it up and I want to talk about it, is the whole thing with, like I said, the sexism or whatever, but white privilege. and it's interesting because as a white man, you know, you don't recognize what someone would point out as something that, you know, I through my jobs, through promotions, through just in life in general, all these other kind of things, you know, if a woman has gone to school, she's done a job, either been in the job longer, or has done this career longer, or whatever, why shouldn't she make more money? Or, you know, progress in her career? Black man, it doesn't matter. One-armed Willie, I don't care. You know, I mean, if someone does the job and does those things, but
in the perfect world,
in a perfect world, yes, ideally, but I see that, and there's things that I can't even remotely begin to, because we were talking about this earlier. Like when I said like we grew up poor, I was like, poor is poor to me. But you know, but there's hood poor, and then there's like white trash poor, and then there's like all these other kind of poors. And I'm just like, God damn, man, I'm just poor is poor.
But see, while you looking at it as poor is poor, you got us on this side looking at, well, your poor is poor, but your poor has a better opportunity to moving forward quicker than we have, which is a horrible way of thinking.
Because I'm white.
For us, exactly. And
Right.
and not to dance around, because I like to be straightforward and honest with it.
Yeah, tell me how you really feel. It's because I'm
Well,
white, isn't it?
Yes.
It is. It is because you're white.
Because you white. You white. So you know, and like on You People, when they were sitting at the table, when they were talking about the Holocaust versus slavery,
Right.
Eddie Murphy then had a rebuttal back with them to say, what were your grandparents' job profession? And it was like podiatrist. What was his great grandfather's profession?
Oh yeah,
Podiatrist. What about
right.
the father, great grandfather before that? Podiatrist. So don't sit here and say that your old time was harsher than our years of slavery, when the opportunities were given through your bloodline to be up like that.
You know, there was, that's a valid point because of the fact that, but again, because we're only a generation away, because there's still people that are walking amongst us that had experienced and lived the civil rights movement that we had. Now, with that being said, you've got so many cultures that have had their own versions of slavery.
Okay.
But again, we're going to back up now hundreds to now thousands of years ago. Okay. So, I mean, were the
Hebrews, the Jews.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, was this a tabletop discussion that they had when it was only one generation away? You know, when they were like, you know, oy vey,
they did.
that was our people just not too long ago.
They did make a comment to say that the Jews were the original slaves.
Well, there's a lot of and I mean, we can talk about it on this episode. It's not. I mean, the international slave trade was a concept that was gathered only from what they experienced going coastal along Africa and seeing that tribes had made slaves of other people that they had captured from other tribes. So there's so many different avenues that we can go, on this. And I'm not going to argue it because I agree. I agree with you on this. I do. It's, I've experienced racism in my family, and I grew up around racism. So I don't know if that had a lot to do with who I am now. I told you I grew up going to the boys club for a while, and I was like the only fat little white kid that was there. So I learned really quick. My mouth got me in trouble a lot. So, words hurt, fists hurt harder. So I don't know. I can't. I don't know if any of that makes sense because I'm like I said, as a white man trying to explain or even I can empathize or try to understand or put myself someplace and talk about something, but at the end of the day,
all I can say is don't try like they did to be something that they're not.
right?
And most of like how I have friends of mine that like, hey, you sound like you started talking white. Wait a minute, who put a color on speaking proper?
Right.
Who put a color on what I say and what I do?
Society,
And and that's a bad way of living. Like
cultures.
like the glorified N word. Oh, you can't say it, but we can say it. First of all, the word is ignorant.
Right.
And it's a word that shouldn't be utilized in your vocabulary. And to try to justify its being is making that word live longer.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we keep doing it, we're getting mad at somebody else saying it. And because of the way we're using it, it's supposed to be okay. We shouldn't be glorifying words that cause mess.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we were actually discussing it earlier, and that's just one of those things where it's racism is still an issue because we make it an issue.
We make it an issue.
That's why it's still an issue. Now, doesn't negate the fact that there's still things that we need to work on as people, as society, and as in my opinion, fellow people that are just on this. I mean, the way I look at it, we're one big tribe. We're on this massively floating rock in a vacuum of space, and we all share this together, if we like it or not. It's not, you can't go to your room away from this, from where we're at and who we live with and everyone around us. It just doesn't work that way. That's it. That's how I look at it. I look at life and I look at everyone around me as, a big tribe. You got some village idiots. You've got some that, you got some people that, you can't control everything around you, all those aspects of it. So I do what I can do and I acclimate the best I can.
Right.
To share this place with everyone.
Right. So I'm gonna hit you with this. Coming up towards the part in the film, there was the part where Jonah separated being a race thing to being just a complete asshole.
Are you talking about with her dad?
Yeah.
Yeah. When
drawing up a good conclusion.
You brought me to the barbershop, knowing everyone there was wearing blue, but he was wearing the red hoodie. He tried to
call me out on basketball.
Oh, basketball, which that ended up backfiring, which was funny. But like you said, like you said, he's like, I don't know this, and I'll never understand this, but I know an asshole when I see one,
mm-hmm.
and that is facts. I mean, I agree 100% with that. People, it's interesting that you'll see the same person or types of people throughout your life, but with just different faces.
Mm.
And it has nothing to do. It's just their behavior. It's their character. It's all those things, from good and bad. You know that type of person. You'll know this because you'll meet someone and you'll immediately think of someone else that you knew that reminds you of them.
Hey, life is a teacher.
It surely is, and I've just consistently gotten D's, and it's not fair. I keep getting held back each year. Life is not fair. Life is the worst teacher.
No Brian left behind. No Brian left behind.
No Brian left behind.
That's why he's here now. There's no Brian left behind.
That needs to be a bumper sticker. No Brian left behind.
That's dope.
Yes,
That's
no
dope.
Brian. No Brian
Put a
left behind.
hashtag on that. Copyright
Hashtag
slash
no Brian left behind.
no Brian left behind. Hashtag that up. Run it up. So my brother, this has been a most definitely an interesting conversation. Speaking on you people, Eddie Murphy and
You
Joan
people as
They did
as
the
white
movie.
people?
As the movie.
All right.
They did their thing in this one here, and
They did. They brought. I loved this movie. We need more movies that really spark and really push the envelope on racial division, cultural division, religious division. This movie really tackled
a lot of different divisions in one, and it came to a glorious conclusion of, listen, you like what you like,
and you love what you
and
love.
don't let nobody take you away from what you love. Do what you love. Do what you like, so what you love seems like a hobby. This movie was very satisfying to me. Funny.
Well, yeah,
Had me on the edge at times about thinking, throwing, the way people could cunningly make you think about things.
For me, being a little bit older too, this was Eddie Murphy Eddie Murphy brought some of his, he's been on that whole streak of like family movies.
Oh yeah, this Eddie Murphy boy.
This is old Eddie. This is old Eddie. Yeah. And I was happy with that. It's like boomerang Eddie. Yeah. So yeah, I was happy with that. And again, there needs to be, and it shouldn't be for the sense of tension. It should be, again, to open up people and their eyes to just the idiocracy of just beliefs on things, and how stupid they really look at the end of the day. So some of my closest people, anybody that they can't see, this is just what this is right here, but we've got our audio and film crew here.
There we go.
And we are such a diverse group of people.
Such a diverse.
And I love these people like they're family.
That's right.
They're my people, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for them. And it has nothing to do at all about their color. It's the content of their character.
To the content, to the content of character. I love
there we go. Love you too, my dude.
Hey, beers, burgers, and bros.
Have a drink. Be real with each other. Love one another.
Facts. Now let me go get a little bit of this blueberry soggy salmon that's left.
It's more like salmonella now. Ew. What?
Beers, burgers, and bros.
So, all right. Terry, how you doing?
I'm alright, B-mode.
Beers, Burgers, and Bros doing episode 3 is what this is.
This is
Episode 3. We're getting there slowly but surely. We're getting there.
But you know what they say, progress is the next thing to success. You just have to keep moving. If you can't fly, you run. If you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. But for all means, just keep moving.
In the words of Dory, just keep swimming.
Martin Luther King said that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, but Dory did say what you just said.
Okay, yeah, no confusion between Dory and Martin Luther King at all.
None.
No. Yeah, so I don't want